tragically passed away moments after hearing his sentence. Fans and the public were left in shock, struggling to comprehend how a promising career and life could be cut short in such a shocking and sudden way. The courtroom, already tense with anticipation over the sentencing, transformed into a scene of panic, disbelief, and outrage. Kay Flock's presence had dominated headlines for weeks, and this sudden turn of events has left both the music industry and his fan base reeling. Kay Flock had been facing a highly publicized trial, with his case drawing attention nationwide due to his influence in the music scene and the serious charges he was fighting. The anticipation around the verdict had brought media, fans, and critics together in a frenzy of speculation, debates, and social media commentary. Few expected the tragic outcome that unfolded inside the courthouse today. Eyewitnesses report that moments after the judge announced the sentence, Kay Flock collapsed, prompting immediate medical attention. Despite the efforts of emergency responders, he was pronounced dead at the scene. The reasons behind his sudden death remain under investigation, but initial reports indicate that the shock and emotional strain from the sentencing may have contributed to this devastating event. Authorities are now reviewing court footage, medical details, and witness statements to determine the full circumstances surrounding his passing. The impact of Kay Flock's death is already being felt across the music world. Fellow artists, collaborators, and fans are expressing grief, paying tribute, and reflecting on the loss of a young talent whose potential was cut tragically short. Social media is flooded with messages of sorrow, anger, and disbelief, as supporters struggle to process the reality of losing a figure who had inspired so many through his music. As investigations continue and the world mourns, questions linger. What led to this shocking outcome? And how will the industry, his family, and fans cope with this sudden tragedy? One thing is certain: Kay Flock's death marks a heartbreaking and unprecedented moment in music history, leaving behind a legacy of talent, controversy, and unanswered questions. The courthouse was filled with tension long before the judge announced Kay Flock's sentence. Fans, media personnel, and legal teams packed the room, each anticipating a moment that had dominated headlines for months. Kay Flock, the young rap star known for his aggressive style and rising influence in the music scene, entered the courtroom with a mix of defiance and anxiety. Every step, every glance, and every whisper of the crowd amplified the gravity of the moment. The stakes were higher than ever. This wasn't just a trial. It was a public spectacle, with millions watching online and across social media. For weeks, speculation about Kay Flock's fate had consumed fans and critics alike. His charges, which had been the subject of intense scrutiny, were serious, and the anticipation of the sentence had created a charged atmosphere. Lawyers whispered strategy, spectators held their breath, and journalists prepared to report live on every reaction. The courtroom felt like a pressure cooker, and Kay Flock himself seemed acutely aware of the weight pressing down on him. His supporters watched closely, hoping for a favorable outcome, while critics quietly anticipated justice being served. As the judge began to speak, the room went silent. Every word seemed to carry additional weight, with cameras capturing the reactions of Kay Flock, his family, and associates. His body language, tense shoulders, clenched fists, and restless movements, revealed the strain he was under. Witnesses described a growing pull of unease in the air, as if the energy of the courtroom itself was bracing for an unexpected outcome. Even the most seasoned legal observers sensed that something unprecedented was about to unfold. Then came the moment of the sentence. The words rang out clearly, yet the reaction that followed stunned everyone present. Kay Flock collapsed almost immediately, sending shockwaves through the courtroom. Court officers and emergency responders rushed forward, attempting to revive him as panic spread among attendees. Screams, shouts, and frantic calls for help filled the space, as people struggled to comprehend what was happening. Cameras captured the chaos, broadcasting the shocking scene to audiences around the world in real time. Medical personnel worked tirelessly to stabilize Kay Flock, but tragically, he was pronounced dead at the scene. The courtroom, once filled with tension and anticipation, was now consumed by grief, confusion, and disbelief. Questions immediately arose. What had caused this sudden death? And could it have been prevented? Witnesses and fans alike were left reeling, unable to reconcile the promising career and vibrant personality of K-Flock with the shocking outcome that had unfolded in front of their eyes. The music world, and Jacksonville itself, was left in stunned silence. The news of K-Flock's sudden death spread like wildfire, sending shockwaves across Jacksonville, the music industry, and social media. Fans flooded online platforms, expressing disbelief, grief, and anger. For many, K-Flock represented more than just a rising star. He was a symbol of ambition, energy, and authenticity in the rap scene. The tragedy left followers questioning how someone so young and influential could pass away in such a sudden and shocking manner. Trending hashtags, tribute videos, and live streams of fans reacting to the news quickly filled social media feeds, amplifying the impact of the event worldwide. Authorities immediately launched an investigation into the circumstances surrounding his death. While initial reports suggested that the emotional strain of hearing his sentence may have contributed to his collapse, medical teams and law enforcement were working to determine the exact cause. Court footage, eyewitness statements, and medical records became central pieces of the investigation, with officials promising transparency as the inquiry unfolded. Legal analysts and journalists dissected every moment leading up to the tragic event, from the tense atmosphere of the courtroom to K-Flock's own behavior during sentencing. The music world reacted instantly. Fellow artists, collaborators, and industry insiders expressed deep sorrow and shock at the loss. Tribute posts poured in, with artists sharing memories of working with K-Flock, highlighting his talent, and mourning the untapped potential that would now never be realized. Promoters and record labels began evaluating the impact on upcoming projects, while fans organized vigils and online tributes to honor his memory. The sudden nature of his death intensified the grief, as no one had been prepared for such a tragic turn of events. Local communities in Jacksonville were also deeply affected. Residents who had followed K-Flock's rise from the streets to the music scene struggled to reconcile his vibrant presence with the tragedy that unfolded in the courthouse. Discussions about mental health, stress, and the pressures of public scrutiny began emerging, as community leaders and media outlets examined the factors that could have contributed to this shocking loss. The city, already familiar with high-profile incidents in its music and street scene, was once again forced to confront the fragility of life under intense public pressure. By the end of the day, the narrative surrounding K-Flock's death had expanded far beyond the courthouse. It became a story of shock, grief, and unanswered questions, resonating with fans and communities worldwide. While authorities continued their investigation, and the music industry began to process the loss, one reality remained clear. The sudden death of K-Flock had left a void that could never be filled, and the legacy of his life and music would now be forever intertwined with the tragic events of that fateful day in court. In the aftermath of K-Flock's shocking death, the city of Jacksonville was gripped by confusion, fear, and anger. Authorities immediately launched a full investigation to determine the cause of his sudden collapse. Medical examiners and court officials worked side by side to review security footage, medical records, and eyewitness accounts. While initial reports pointed to the emotional shock of hearing his sentence as a contributing factor, every detail was scrutinized to rule out foul play or negligence. The courthouse became the center of intense inquiry, with investigators questioning staff, legal teams, and anyone present at the time of the incident. The media frenzy surrounding the event escalated rapidly. News outlets across the nation and around the world covered the story, broadcasting footage from the courthouse and relaying updates on the investigation. Social media exploded with theories, tributes, and speculation, turning K-Flock's death into one of the most discussed events in recent music history. Fans analyzed every clip, every frame, and every post, desperate to piece together what had happened. The intensity of public attention put additional pressure on authorities, who had to manage both the investigation and the overwhelming media scrutiny. K-Flock's family issued statements expressing heartbreak and disbelief. Loved ones spoke about his passion for music, his ambition, and the positive moments he shared with friends and fans. They called for privacy amid the tragedy, but also urged fans to honor his life rather than dwell on speculation. Support poured in from the music community, with fellow artists posting tributes, holding vigils, and sharing memories of time spent working with K-Flock. The tragedy became a unifying moment for the community, highlighting both the fragility of life and the impact of one young artist on the lives of many. Meanwhile, the music industry began assessing the ripple effects of his death. Upcoming releases, collaborations, and live performances were delayed or cancelled as promoters and producers grappled with the loss. Analysts debated the implications for the rap scene, reflecting on how K-Flock's unique voice and influence had left a mark that would now be permanently tied to tragedy. Conversations also emerged around mental health, stress, and the pressures faced by artists in the public eye, issues that had never felt more urgent than in the wake of this sudden loss. As Jacksonville and the wider music community absorbed the shock, the story continued to dominate headlines. Authorities promised updates as the investigation progressed, while fans and media alike remained fixated on understanding the circumstances that led to such an unprecedented event. K-Flock's sudden passing had transformed from a local tragedy into a national moment of reflection, mourning, and unanswered questions, marking a pivotal point in the history of modern rap culture. The shock of K-Flock's sudden death in court sent ripples across Jacksonville and the global music community. Fans gathered outside the courthouse, some in disbelief, others in mourning, holding signs, candles, and posters honoring the young artist. Social media became a torrent of grief, outrage, and speculation, with hashtags trending worldwide. Memes, tribute videos, and live reactions flooded platforms like Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. The tragic event sparked a heated debate about the pressures young artists face, the judicial system's handling of high-profile cases, and the emotional toll of life in the public eye. In neighborhoods across Jacksonville, fans shared memories and stories of K-Flock's influence, recounting moments that had inspired them or connected them to his music. Community leaders and local figures voiced concern over the psychological impact such a public tragedy could have on youth, urging conversations about mental health and stress management. Vigils were organized, bringing together fans, family members, and local artists to honor his life and legacy. The atmosphere was a mixture of mourning, respect, and outrage, as many demanded accountability and answers regarding the circumstances of his death. The music industry responded with a mix of sorrow and reflection. Fellow artists posted heartfelt tributes, highlighting K-Flock's talent, work ethic, and the promise of a career cut tragically short. Producers and collaborators recalled late-night studio sessions, moments of mentorship, and the unique energy he brought to every project. His sudden passing prompted discussions about the dangers of fame, the emotional toll of legal battles, and the fragility of life in the high-pressure environment of rap culture. Industry experts debated how this loss would affect upcoming releases and the wider hip-hop landscape, acknowledging the void left by his absence. Social media, while a platform for mourning, also became a space for speculation and controversy. Fans and critics alike questioned whether sufficient precautions were taken during the court proceedings, and whether the intense media attention and public scrutiny contributed to the tragic outcome. Viral posts, interviews, and leaked footage fueled conversations across multiple platforms, creating a 24/7 news cycle centered on K-Flock's death. The intensity of public reaction reflected not only the artist's influence, but also the profound shock of losing a young life in such an unprecedented and dramatic way. By the end of this phase, K-Flock's death had transformed into a cultural moment. It was no longer just a tragic incident. It became a catalyst for conversations about mental health, public pressure, and the responsibilities of the justice system. Fans, artists, and communities alike were left grappling with grief and questions that had no immediate answers. The city of Jacksonville, already entwined with his life and music, was left to mourn, reflect, and navigate the aftermath of a tragedy that had shaken both the streets and the music world to its core. In the weeks following K-Flock's shocking death, investigations into the exact cause intensified. Authorities combed through medical records, court footage, and eyewitness accounts to determine whether the collapse was purely due to emotional shock or if other factors played a role. While initial reports suggested that the stress of hearing the sentence contributed significantly, medical examiners and legal experts continued to analyze every detail. The goal was to provide clarity for the family, fans, and the public, ensuring that K-Flock's passing was fully understood and documented. The music community continued to grapple with the loss. Tributes poured in from artists across genres, emphasizing the talent, creativity, and drive that K-Flock had brought to every project. Collaborators spoke about his energy in the studio, his relentless ambition, and the unique voice he contributed to modern rap. Memorial events, live streams, and online vigils gave fans a platform to express grief, share memories, and celebrate his life. Despite the tragedy, his influence remained palpable, inspiring aspiring artists and fans alike to carry forward his music and vision. Public discourse also evolved. Media outlets analyzed the pressures young artists face, highlighting mental health challenges, legal stress, and the burden of public scrutiny. Conversations about court safety, emotional preparedness, and the systemic factors that can affect defendants in high-profile cases became widespread. Communities in Jacksonville and beyond reflected on the fragile intersection of fame, youth, and legal battles, recognizing that K-Flock's death was both a personal and societal tragedy. The dialogue sparked reforms in awareness, with advocates calling for better support for young artists navigating legal and emotional pressures. As the weeks turned into months, K-Flock's legacy crystallized. Fans continued to honor his work, streaming his music, creating tribute art, and recounting moments from his performances and recordings. The streets of Jacksonville remembered him as more than a public figure. He was a symbol of youthful ambition, artistic talent, and the profound impact one life can have on a community. Fellow artists carried his influence into new projects, ensuring that his style, voice, and energy remained present in the culture he helped shape. Ultimately, the death of K-Flock marked a defining and heartbreaking moment in modern rap history. The city of Jacksonville, the music industry, and his millions of fans were forever changed. Investigations concluded, tributes continued, and discussions about mental health and the pressures of fame persisted, but the loss remained immeasurable. K-Flock's life and career, though cut tragically short, left an enduring imprint. His music, influence, and memory serving as a testament to both his talent and the fragility of life under the spotlight. The story of his rise, struggle, and untimely passing would continue to resonate for years to come. The sudden death of K-Flock in court shocked Jacksonville, the music industry, and fans around the world. A rising star whose talent and energy had inspired countless followers, K-Flock's life ended abruptly, leaving questions, grief, and a void in the rap community. His passing highlights the intense pressures of fame, the emotional strain of legal battles, and the fragility of life in the public eye. Fans, fellow artists, and communities continue to mourn, sharing tributes, memories, and reflections on the legacy he leaves behind. While investigations aim to clarify the circumstances, one truth is undeniable: K-Flock's influence, creativity, and impact will not be forgotten. His music, his story, and the conversation sparked by his untimely death will continue to resonate, reminding everyone of the highs, lows, and risks that come with life in the spotlight. Honor his memory and witness his lasting impact.